Should I memorize ITTO for the PMP exam? This is a question asked by many PMP aspirants. The simplest answer to the question is no. And after 2021 exam changes, absolutely not. But that's not the full story. Keep watching to understand what you need to do. Hello, I am Daud, back with one short video on how to handle ITTO questions. Supposedly, the ITTO questions have disappeared from the PMP exam in 2021 according to the PMP exam takers this year. However, since there is no official word on it, it will be naive to assume that ITTO questions have been officially eliminated. See, one misconception out there is that ITTO is a thing that is separate from process flow. Process flow means what information flows, why it flows, where it flows. ITTO is what inputs are taken, which tools and techniques are used, and what outputs are created or updated. So then, isn't this the flow of a process? Something coming in, process to create or update some other thing. So saying ITTO questions are dead may not be correct. However, the type of questions you see here right now is less likely to be asked. These are the ones that are reportedly not coming up on the exam. Which of the following is not a tool and technique of the collect requirements process? Group creativity techniques, interviews, questionnaires, traceability matrix. The answer is traceability matrix, which is the output of the process. The question expects you to know ITTO. So what should the PMP aspirants do now? Here is a simple 3-step formula to be ready for ITTO influenced questions. First, thoroughly understand the main objective of a process. If I asked you, what is the purpose of process X? You should be able to state clearly in one sentence the purpose of process X. If you can do that, you got the hang of that process because every input, tool and technique, output is serving that purpose. There are secondary benefits from each process, but only one primary purpose. Here is an example. PMBOK states the objective of defined scope process as defined scope is the process of developing a detailed description of the project and product. The key benefit of this process is that it describes the product, service, or result boundaries as well as acceptance criteria. Now, without the knowledge of ITTO, can you guess the main input of this process? Requirements documentation, scope management plan, project scope statement, or work breakdown structure. Think of the words, a detailed description of the project and product. The project scope statement is the right choice because it contains details of the project and product scope. To describe the product, you must know what the requirements are and how you can go about delivering on those requirements. Therefore, requirements documentation and scope management plan will be an input but not the primary output. Then you can create the work breakdown structure only after you have established the scope. So it is neither an input nor an output. So knowledge of the main objective of a process helps in identifying the right choice. Second, identify the primary inputs and outputs. Here, we are specifically talking about those inputs which the project team cannot carry out the process and those outputs that fulfill the primary objective of the process. Every process among the 49 processes has one or two key inputs and at least one primary output. For example, PMBOK states that develop team is the process of improving competencies, team member interaction, and the overall team environment to enhance project performance. So to achieve all these benefits, what do you need from the following? Select one or two choices. Stakeholder engagement plan, resource management plan, project team assignments, requirements management plan. One correct choice is the resource management plan that describes how the project manager will develop the team. This process is not about stakeholders or project requirements, so both options A and D are wrong. Improving competencies cannot be achieved without knowing project team assignments, so obviously that is a primary input and the second correct choice. And the third step is Know the place of the process in the flow of information. Overall, the 49 PMBOK processes represent project management information flow. So the knowledge of where each process belongs in the relationship between process groups and knowledge areas can enhance the comprehension of information flow. For instance, manage project knowledge process is under the executing process group. It also belongs to the project integration management knowledge area. We can establish two things from here. One, as the integration management process, this process must be taking information from several others. And two, as an executing process, this process is probably carried out continuously throughout the project. So wrapping up, do not memorize ITTO. Instead, learn the objective and primary inputs and outputs of a process and the place of the process in the project management information flow. Thanks for watching. I will love to hear from you if you got any question or comment. Bye for now.